Remember those generic ChatGPT marketing prompts everyone was sharing? You know, the ones like write me a social media post about coaching or generate 50 blog post titles for my coaching business. Yeah, unfortunately, I fell down a few of those rabbit holes too. Well, here's the thing. They don't work because you can't shortcut your way to authentic marketing with a one-size-fits-all approach. But I've also seen coaches go the other way, creating these incredibly elaborate prompts that are harder to write than the actual marketing content itself. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been doing what I do best, finding that sweet spot between chaos and overcomplication. And it turns out that, like most things in business, it all comes down to having the right framework. Today, I'm sharing how I've simplified AI marketing using custom GPTs and training files that make creating authentic content as straightforward as my Monday morning to-do list. No more robot speak, no endless rewrites, just clear, authentic marketing that consistently fills my coaching calendar. So let's dive in. Welcome, coaches. I'm Jackie Appleby, online business manager, business coach, and your guide on this journey towards not just building a successful coaching business, but creating a transformative one. You want to grow your coaching business while leading your best life, and I'm here to share tips, tricks, and strategies to make that dream achievable. With years of experience in the coaching industry, I've helped countless coaches move from feeling completely overwhelmed and chaotic to calm and thriving using my Coach to CEO framework. So if you feel like you're ready to transform your business, then you are in the right place, my friend. Let's talk about why most coaches struggle with AI marketing. It's not because the technology isn't good enough, it's because they're missing a system. And you know me, I love a good system. It's just like setting up your client onboarding or your inbox zero process. Once you have the right framework in place, everything becomes clearer. Think about it. If you told a new team member, just write some marketing posts with zero context about your brand, your voice, or your clients, you'd end up with generic fluff, right? AI is exactly the same. It needs clear direction and context to create content that actually sounds like you. This is exactly why I created the PRISM Framework. Let me show you how it works. P stands for purpose. This is your directive, what you actually want AI to create. For instance, create a LinkedIn post announcing my new group coaching program. R is for rules. These are your parameters like word count or format. For example, keep it under 200 words, include a clear call to action, and use 2 to 3 paragraphs. I means information. This is where you give AI the context it needs about your business and your audience. For example, this program helps overwhelmed coaches create systems that reduce their admin time by 50%. My ideal clients are established coaches making 5 to 10K monthly, but working 60 hours plus a week. S is for style. This defines your voice and brand personality. For example, write in a conversational, friendly tone. I use British humor and often make references to organization and systems. M stands for mind check. This is where you verify AI understands what you need. For example, before you write this post, do you need any additional information about my program, offerings, or target audience? Now, you might be thinking, Jackie, this looks great, but I don't want to type out my brand voice and ideal client information every single time I need content. And you're absolutely right. Remember what I said about finding that sweet spot between chaos and overcomplication? Well, here's where that comes in. There are 2 game-changing tools that I use to make this framework practically run itself. First up is AI training files. In this case, we'll think of it as your business's personality guide, but you can create AI training files for many different things. You create it once in a Google Doc or something similar describing your requirements. Then instead of typing all that information every time, you just upload your training file to the conversation. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so this is my AI training file for my Diligent Assistant voice. Now, you can create AI training files for pretty much anything, but this one in particular is about capturing my voice. So you can see how I've laid it out. Up here, I just have a quick introduction of who I am, the company, and what the company does. And then I've gone very specifically into areas within. So here we have the tone and style, and we talk about how I like to come across when I am communicating with people. And, some of it is fairly straightforward, supportive and encouraging, confidence building. That's something that we like to make sure that we've got in. And here you'll see some of the more things that are more geared towards me specifically. So confident but casual. We know what we're talking about, but we're not preachy. So that was really important. Use humor, anecdotes, and playful quips to keep things approachable. And then again down here, I've got balanced humor and honesty, mixed humor with truth bombs. Again, that's the style that I like to offer up, is the voice that has just a little touch of humor in it. So I went through and designed this tone and style, and then on the next pages, we've got content. So we want to make sure that we're telling the AI exactly what types of content we want it to be pulling forward. So this is not where we're saying, create a blog post or create a social media post, but more the kind of things that we use within those things themselves. So things like real world scenarios, I want to make sure the AI is using proper case studies, testimonials, that kind of stuff. I'm very education driven, so I've given it the instruction to make sure that it positions me as a guide and a teacher. That's something that's really important to me. And then I love explaining things through stories and examples. I find that it makes some of the high level tech stuff that I'm teaching a little bit more easy to digest. So we've got personal stories and examples in here, and so on and so forth. So that's the content part. And then we have research and credibility. So we want to make sure that the AI knows that it's using experience-led insights. This is where we have my Coach to CEO methodology, because that's kind of the basis of everything that we do. And then I also want it to cite thought leaders that are really important to me and to the coaching industry. So voices like Brene Brown, James Clear, Marshall Goldsmith, etc., to reinforce ideas. So it's going to, when it creates something using my voice, it's going to make sure that it pulls some of these thought leaders through. And then I also want to make sure everything's transparent and honest. So we've got that in there. And then the engagement, the way I want to get people to engage with the content. So we're asking lots of open-ended questions. We want to make sure that that's included in the output. We want to make sure there's calls to action in there, that we go with an empathy first methodology in the communication. So you can see how we've put all of this information down. So we have the creativity there, and then we have this alignment piece, which just kind of pulls everything back and says, just make sure that everything that you're creating in our voice connects with our mission, that it reflects our core missions that we have listed here, and the mission of transforming coaches into empowered CEOs. For me, that's a big theme that needs to run through things. So I want to make sure that the AI knows that these are things that it should be pulling through. So this is the file that I put together, and you can actually create this using ChatGPT. You just need a prompt for it. If you don't know how to put all of this together, or you don't feel like you can make this as robust as you would like, it's definitely a task that ChatGPT can help you with. So you can just create a prompt and then say, put this document together, or ask me questions so that I can respond to give you the right answers to create this file. So that's all doable ahead of time. And then you create the file, put it in a PDF format, as I mentioned, and that makes it super easy to upload to whichever AI platform you're using. Both Claude and ChatGPT, if you're using those, and quite a few others, will easily accept PDF files, so they can read these fairly easily and get the information that they need for direction. And this is how you stop yourself from having to type this, because it's fairly lengthy, right? So now you don't have to type this every single time you want to do a new piece of work with your AI platform. The second tool is custom GPTs. Now, if you're not familiar with GPTs, think of them as your own team member that can do whatever you need that can be output as text. Instead of using regular ChatGPT, you're using a version that already knows everything about your business and how you like to communicate and the specific task you want it to perform. So the second tool I want to show you is the GPTs, which is slightly different from a regular GPT. Let's just move myself out of the way. So your regular GPTs will sit here. If you won't have all of this. These are all the GPTs that I've created or that I'm using that other people have created. So what you want to do basically is go into the Explore GPTs in your ChatGPT environment. And over here, you'll see that you have a create button. And I'm not going to create one because I've already done that, but I will go into mine and show you. So you basically go into create and follow the instructions. And then you create this GPT that does the same task all the time. Now, if I go into my GPTs, you can see all of the ones that I've created. And if we go into this one, Marco, that I created, this is an expert CMO for marketing agencies with strategic insight. So let's hop into that. Let's go back a step because I want to show you the editing side of it. Just one sec. So we want to go into here to edit the GPT. All right. And here you can see, so when you go through this process, when you do that create a new GPT, it'll ask you to give it a name. It'll ask you to give it a description. And here's the instructions. And the instructions is really just, it's a prompt. But what you're doing is you're creating that prompt and putting it into this GPT so that you don't have to put this full prompt in again, right? So I've indicated that it serves as the chief marketing officer for the company. It's overseeing the marketing department. It offers expertise. So everything that you would normally put into your GPT, if you find your chat GPT, if you find yourself constantly starting a new conversation and having to type in the same prompt over and over and over again, you can come in here and create the GPT, the custom GPT with your base instructions that are always the same. And then when you go to start a new conversation, so if I come back here and I go to Marco that we just looked at and click on it, it pulls up Marco and it's a blank GPT ready to go, just like a regular GPT, only now it has in the background all of those specific instructions about what its primary function is. So now if I go in here and say, I want to create a social media plan, let's do strategy, for 2025, it will then respond based on its role as a chief marketing officer. So it's going to give me a bunch of stuff. Now, clearly, you know, again, some of this is generic because I didn't put enough context in here, but it knows that it's a marketing expert. So we don't need to put all of that jazz in. And I can upload that training file that we worked on before to give it my voice at the same time. I just haven't done that with this particular one. So that's how a GPT works. And between the AI training file and the GPTs, that is how you can cut down on a ton of work and really get your systems working for you. Now, here's a little secret. If you're stuck trying to define your brand voice, you can actually use ChatGPT to help you create this. It's like having a brand strategist help you get clarity on how you actually communicate. And don't worry, I'll share exactly how to do this in a few minutes. Now, I know that this might seem like a lot to take in. You might be thinking, Jackie, I love the idea of having AI that actually sounds like me, but how do I make sure I'm setting everything up correctly? That's exactly why I've created something special for you. I call it the AI Marketing Foundation's Kit for Coaches. And it includes my complete training file template, including that brand voice prompt that I mentioned, my top performing PRISM Framework prompts, a step-by-step guide to creating your custom GPT, real examples you can use as inspiration. Because here's the thing, I've spent this time figuring this out through trial and error, but you don't have to. You can skip straight to what works. So click the link below to grab your copy, and let's get your AI marketing working as efficiently as my Inbox Zero system. Now, before we wrap up, let me share one final tip that is absolutely crucial. Always review and tweak AI's output. Remember, this isn't about replacing your voice, it's about amplifying it. Think of AI as your first draft writer. It gets the structure down, captures your style, but you still need to add those personal touches that make it uniquely yours. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I do see a lot of coaches struggle either with spending hours writing super complicated prompts that don't quite work, or they use those generic prompts and end up with content that just sounds like everybody else. Neither of those approaches gets you the results that you want. So if you fall into one or both of those camps, then grab my AI Marketing Foundations Kit. It gives you everything that you need to start creating authentic marketing content that actually sounds like you without the endless trial and error that I went through to figure this out. So if you're ready to make AI work for your coaching business, grab your copy of the kit using the link in the captions. And don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe if you want more practical tips on growing your coaching business while keeping your sanity intact. Thanks for watching, and remember, AI is just a tool. Your unique voice and perspective, that's your superpower. See you in the next video.